August 19, 2024. A Washington, D.C. man paces nervously on his phone with Google support. But this man is not just any ordinary man. He has over $230 million in Bitcoin sitting in his digital wallet, and he has been getting notifications from Google about unauthorized access to his accounts coming from overseas countries. This terrifies him, so he complacently does what the Google support team asks of him in order to secure his accounts. But he was not talking to Google. In fact, he was not talking to a support team at all. Unbeknownst to him, he was about to be scammed for over $230 million by 5 kids, which would lead to one of the most insane spending sprees of all time and one of the fastest falls from grace that I have ever seen. The group of criminals consisted of 5 members. 20-year-old Malone Lam, 18-year-old Veer Shatal, 21-year-old Jean-Deal Serrano, Danish Khan, and a person only known online as Shen. With this being said, it is unclear if Danish or Shen had any direct role in the heist, as they were only seen in group chats that were later leaked. However, it is known that Danish had access to multiple bankruptcy databases, which possibly links him to how the group found the victim in the first place. They have found their new target, a man from Washington, D.C. who had a large sum of Bitcoin, with some of it seeming to come from the now defunct cryptocurrency exchange Genesis, which had been paying out large sums of cryptocurrency to its creditors after a bankruptcy had caused it to shut down. For those unaware, a cryptocurrency exchange is a company that allows users to exchange one type of digital currency for another. Nonetheless, the crew would embark on their plan by causing unauthorized Google account access notifications to appear on the victim's phone. To make them seem real, they used VPN services, which allow users to change their IP location in order to make it appear as if the people trying to access the victim's accounts were from overseas. With everything in place, it was time to launch their heist. August 19th, 2024. It's nighttime and the Washington, D.C. man gets a call from who he thinks is Google support. On the other end was Veer Shatal, known online as Wiz, using a fake phone number pretending to be a Google representative. The many alerts had already spooked the man, so when Wiz told him that someone had attempted to hack his personal accounts and that he was here to shut it down, this was more than enough to get him to comply to Wiz's requests. The victim hands Wiz access to his Gmail and OneDrive services, providing him with security codes and other crucial information. While Wiz is talking to the victim, Malone Lam, known online as Greavies, searches through the obtained Gmail and OneDrive accounts and finds everything he can relating to the target's cryptocurrency asset. There, he locates records for the cryptocurrency exchange Gemini, not to be confused with Genesis, the defunct exchange that the victim had gotten payouts from. The crew decides to use this information to their advantage, and Jean-Deal Serrano, known online as Box or Versace God, calls the victim pretending to be a representative at Gemini. The man is shocked, as now he is convinced that someone is trying to steal his digital assets. He was correct, but not by the foreign hackers he thought. Wanting to secure his assets, Serrano convinces the man to transfer the roughly $3 million of Bitcoin from his Gemini account into a compromised wallet owned by the thieves. But they weren't satisfied yet. For the final blow, Serrano convinced the victim to install a remote access software called AnyDesk, which allows users to connect to a device from a distance, enabling them to interact with it as if they were at the computer themselves. In this case, the man shared his screen on his device and was convinced to open several files on his computer in the hopes that he would stop the fictitious overseas hack. The thieves watched on remotely, as the victim opened key files that contained the private keys to his Bitcoin wallet. Think of it like the keys to a safe. Now with the keys, all Malone Lam had to do was use them to quickly transfer the man's remaining Bitcoin, a staggering 4,064, at the time worth over $230 million. They had done it. A group of kids had somehow stolen $250 million in only a couple hours, in what has to be one of the largest cryptocurrency thefts of all time. But now they had a problem. You see, you can't just go out and spend this money like normal. Like a standard criminal organization, they had to launder the proceeds of the crime. They would achieve this through a process called a peel chain. How it worked was the initial large sum of Bitcoin would be split up into small transactions over a long period of time, causing less red flags than if they started moving around huge amounts of digital currency. To help launder their money, they enlisted the help of a sixth person, one of Wiz's friends named Akash Anand. Together, the crew transferred the cryptocurrency across 15 different exchanges and swapped between several forms of digital currency, such as Litecoin, Ethereum, and Monero. Something that still baffles onlookers as they hear about this story is the fact that they screen recorded the whole process and shared it amongst the crew. They recorded their live reactions to the heist in the process of laundering the funds. This is a fatal decision that would soon be relevant to their story. While most of the group laid low, Malone Lam, based in LA, couldn't help himself. It was a lifestyle that he had dreamed of, one that was now only a few phone calls or clicks away. Every night, you could spot Malone spending absorbent amounts of money at nightclubs, sometimes racking up bills over $500,000. This was spent on luxury bottles, VIP services, and a Malone specialty of plastering his name all over the club, something that would make him incredibly easy to identify later. You couldn't miss him. He threw around money and was always the center of attention. Eventually, Malone got bored of LA and decided to take his spending up a notch. On September 10th, 2024, he took a private jet over to Miami, where he rented an insane waterfront estate for $68,000 a month. It was a huge $10 million mansion with a pool and a large driveway, which would eventually be filled with his otherworldly car collection. His collection of luxury vehicles consisted of several Lamborghini Uruses, one in pink which he had purchased for a girl who rejected his offer, several G-Wagons, a Bugatti, a Lamborghini Aventador, a Porsche GT3R, a Pagani, and many, many more. Malone would later claim that he purchased a minimum of 31 luxury cars. Another trademark of Malone was his purchase of Birkin bags for girls at the clubs. Girls who, like with the Lamborghini, ultimately rejected him.
This is it. It's beautiful, but to be honest, it's not really my style.
He also covered himself in diamond jewelry, luxury watches, and high-end fashion. Malone was living like a king, and his ludicrous spending certainly garnered the attention he craved. However, it was starting to come from people that he most certainly wanted to avoid. A man stands in an airport, waiting to board his flight. Online, he is known as Zach XBT, and he is a popular cryptocurrency investigator and detective who is an expert at finding the source of laundered online funds. Zach has seen many cases before, so when he notices a transfer of funds from a small cryptocurrency exchange that was easily 10 times bigger than the typical trade on the service, he was immediately concerned. He starts to follow the trail of money, and as he is doing this, continues to get alerts of more transactions from the same exchange. Zach watches in horror as he realized that a huge cryptocurrency wallet was hastily being drained. He would post his findings, not expecting much from it, but eventually someone would reach out to Zach. While their identity remains unknown, it is believed that someone from the call or from the group chat had snitched. In a crucial piece of evidence, they sent Zach a screen recording of the heist, which, as stated previously, included the moment that they successfully stole the money, their laundering process, and conversations where the crew referred to each other by their real names. Furthermore, in the video, Wiz fumbled and accidentally leaked his full name on the computer during the heist, connecting him directly to the heist. This was not the crew's only mistakes, as Wiz also messed up laundering the money by mistakenly linking dirty funds with clean funds. Similarly, Serrano messed up laundering money as well by creating an account on TradeOgre, another cryptocurrency exchange, without using any methods to hide his real location. It traced directly back to the home he was renting in Encino, California, a massive mansion costing him $47,000 a month. Over the next month, it became increasingly obvious to both Zach and law enforcement who committed the crime, as they followed the path of the money back to the culprits and connected their identities to their lavish lifestyles that they were not shy about boasting. September 18th, 2024, just shy of a month after the heist, Jindil Serrano arrives at the Los Angeles International Airport with his girlfriend, having just returned from a holiday in the Maldives. It was a great trip. How could it not be when you have millions of dollars of stolen cryptocurrency? Suddenly, police surround the couple, and Serrano is arrested on the spot. His girlfriend, who was told by law enforcement specifically to not contact any members of the group, ends up calling Malone Lam moments after the arrest. Back in Miami, Malone sits in his home fearful. He deletes his Telegram account in an attempt to remove evidence, but is confident that he is in the clear. After all, he did not mess up laundering money like Serrano did. However, merely a few hours after his partner's arrest, the police come storming in, armed with tactical gear and extensive weaponry, and arrest Malone. At the time of making this video, both Serrano and Malone are being charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to launder monetary instruments, which they could be jailed up to 20 years for each count. Wiz, whose real name is Veer Chittal, has yet to face any law enforcement and remains free, although the newfound money has drawn unwanted attention to his family. It appears that his parents were the target of a ransom on August 25th, as word of Veer's cut from the heist spread. Akash Anand, Wiz or Veer's friend, the one who aided the group in laundering the money, also has not faced any charges. For Danish, his role still remains somewhat murky, and we will have to see how the case unfolds to get a real scope of his actions, and hopefully eventual prosecution. For Shen, his identity is still completely unknown, and his role, if any, is unknown. In the subsequent raid of Malone's houses, 9 of the luxury cars that were on the property were seized, along with millions of dollars more in jewelry and other goods. The remaining 22 cars have yet to be found. However, $79 million of the total $243 million they stole has been either seized or frozen. In the end, I can't help but wonder if it was all worth it. To live like a king for a month, then spend the majority of your life behind bars as a result of it. What's terrifying is these kids didn't do anything ingenious. Their scam was truthfully quite simple, but it worked and it could work on anybody. If someone with $250 million can get scammed, then why can't it happen to you?